Alright, I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be for this movie.
Oh, okay.
Engage coffee break. You are fired from breathing. Please pack up your desk and kindly leave live.
What the fuck was that? What kind of Reylo propaganda shit was that? Freaking astral projection to have a forced Skype call all the damn time. Fucking hand touching and water droplets on the face on the hand. Taking off the glove to touch hands. And fighting side by side. What? These are all things that I thought should happen, but never things that I thought would happen. What in the world? What in the world? And you know what else is up there with things that I thought should happen, but never thought would happen? Kylo decimating Snoke in the best way possible, and the audience all being completely down with it. That was so great. And then the Praetorian Guard fight was also great, and he's all worried about her, even though he's fighting like 3 guys at once, and she's got the 1 guy, and she cares about him so much, and she wants to save him. And it takes 3 times for them to actually confirm what happened with Luke and Ben. Did anyone else think that was hilarious? Did he tell you what really happened? No, really, did he really tell you what happened? Like, for real? Hello, lady, I hope you're not freaked out too much by me spazzing out in the car over Star Wars. Oh my gosh. You know who got the shaft, though, in this movie? Finn. I liked Poe in this movie, which is shocking, because if you've paid any attention to my blog or my YouTube videos at all, I couldn't stand Poe. I could not stand Poe. I loved Finn. Couldn't stand Poe. You know who I thought I was gonna like, that I didn't end up liking? Poor Rose. I really thought I was gonna like Rose, and that didn't end up being the case. The smooch felt so tacked on, and so not even close to the level of tension that there was with the hand touching with Rey and Kylo. Like, how do you make that happen, have someone sacrifice themselves and give a smooch and have it not feel right? But, I'll have other more cohesive thoughts later, but these are just first impressions, because I am wigging out. Fuck, I just realized I forgot to mention the shirtless scene. How could I forget that? That was the funniest fucking shit. That was hilarious and hot at the same time, but mostly it was funny because of how indignant Rey was about it. Like, could you please... And the lines leading up to it. I'd rather not do this right now. Yeah, me neither. I didn't think it was possible to have comedy with those characters, because I always thought that both Rey and Kylo are so grimdark all the damn time. But Kylo especially had some really funny moments in this, especially with Hux doing insubordination shit. And, God, it was good. It was so good. It was not the best movie ever, but the parts that were good were really good. You know who I didn't expect to like that I ended up liking? DJ. You know who else? Again, with Rose, I thought I was going to like this character, and I didn't. Admiral Holdo. My one I guess, good thing for her, but bad thing for someone else was whenever she said we will light the fire that'll blah blah blah, you know, that whole thing. We are the spark that'll light the fire, blah, blah. Whenever Poe, like, completely changed the meaning of that, I was kind of mad on her behalf. Like, dude, that's not what she said, and that's not what she meant, and please don't. The way that she shot through that giant-ass Star Destroyer was amazing, though. Kind of sad that they introduced that thing only to immediately kill it off. I mean, I assume that they're not gonna fly around with half a ship. But, yeah. And Snoke is gone! I have never felt more satisfied to see a bad guy killed. Except they tried to do that with Phasma, tried to give you that satisfaction of, aha, but now she's dead. She was in one fucking scene. She was in, like, one scene. Then she was gone. Kaput. Didn't even show her face. Showed the little eye, and it wasn't really that resistance scum. Boy, you tell her, Finn. This is your one semi-good bit in this movie. I feel so bad for Finn. Why did this happen? Why? Why couldn't it have been, like, evenly balanced? Because, again, there were parts that were amazing, and then there were parts that were just like, ah! Back at home now, still thinking about friggin' Star Wars. I'm all winded because, my foot is broken, so I've been, dragging myself around with crutches. I almost fell on my way up into the theater because of the stairs, and I had gotten the best seats in the house, but unfortunately, those seats were in the middle of the theater. I'm still not entirely believing what just happened. Like, wow. Wow. Okay, let's talk really quickly about some parts that were kind of a little off, maybe. The bit where Luke just up and tosses his lightsaber behind his back. That felt like a parody, rather than like the legit thing. And there were a couple of moments like that. What was up with Rian Johnson's fixation on, like, boobs and gore? I could have done without that. The bit where Snoke, like, falls to pieces was immensely satisfying, but I did not need to have that shot holding on his decapitated head with the tongue lolling out afterwards. Like, no, please, stop. Speaking of things that were immensely satisfying, though, Hux getting force bitch slapped was the most good shit. There was a lot of slapping going on in this movie, though, wasn't there? Actually, come to think of it, Hux slaps Finn, which is some bullshit. You leave him the fuck alone. I'm still not over how Finn kind of got the short end of the stick in this movie. The way that the advertising made it look when he woke up was, wow, look at how dramatic this is. He's so concerned about Rey. But then, in the movie, he's wandering around naked in a suit, sprouting a bunch of water, and it's like the second-hand embarrassment. You can feel it just coming off of the whole thing. Could have done so much better. The whole bit on Canto Bight, I believe that's the name of the planet, that whole bit, I was just sitting there going, it's worth it, it's okay, it'll get back to the Force Skype calls between Kylo and Rey soon. The bit with the father ears, it's just, I don't know. I'm sure there will be some people that really like those scenes, but I was just sitting there kind of grinning and bearing it and waiting for it to be over. That whole subplot just felt like it was detracting from the main plot, which was, of course, the conflict between Luke and Kylo and Rey. And Luke in this movie, I've been avoiding talking about Luke. I think that this was basically the only way they could have him go out. And it's funny, I didn't realize the illusion thing, and I feel silly about it in hindsight. I was very much caught up in the moment, and I thought that the reason why he wasn't leaving footsteps was because he was so serene and calm or whatever, and Kylo was leaving these big aggressive stripes because he was, really putting his foot down and skidding around. Okay, there's a bit when he's talking to Rey where he, skids into the hallway sideways, and that was so funny, the big squeak that his boots made. What was that? The cameo, to get back to Luke, the cameo from Yoda was so odd. I really would have preferred Obi-Wan. But, what can you do? I feel like this was the way that Luke kind of had to go out. I again feel silly that I didn't really question how he had the blue lightsaber, even though we watched Rey and Kylo rip that thing in half. Sorry for the noticeable dip in camera quality. My phone ran out of space because I was talking too much about the thing. Okay, let me get down to, the nuts and bolts for a second really quickly, though. I liked this movie, and I will be seeing it again. I don't know that I can recommend it to everyone, because on the one hand, you've got Kylo and Rey fighting side by side after having this build-up over and over with their little Force Skype calls, and the way that he's holding her family over her. And that's something I think I've said before, is I always thought that was her weakness, is her family, and he calls her out on it. And that's all great. But then you've got scenes of Luke milking a giant alien and drinking it. And you've got scenes of Finn nearly falling into a giant pile of horse shit. It's such a mixed bag. And I'm glad that I listened to some spoiler-free reviews before I saw the movie, because I went in expecting a mixed bag. I expected to be blown away by some scenes and not feeling so great about others, and that is pretty much exactly what I walked away from it with. And I feel bad because I can't safely say it's an all-around good movie. So The Force Awakens, I would say, is an all-around pretty good movie. It's got one scene that's pretty bad, two scenes, the Rathtar scene and the trench run scene, those are pretty bad. This movie has some scenes that are amazingly awesome, just so good, and it's got other scenes that are the absolute worst, not quite prequels levels of bad, but getting there, and it's strange how that works. I don't want to have to sacrifice the rest of the movie for Reylo to happen, you know what I mean? I hope that in episode 9, when JJ picks it back up, that he is able to maybe make it a little more stable and have the rest of the story still seem good, because every time Finn and Rose were on Canto Bight, I was just can we please go back to the other thing? I mean, I'm looking forward to whenever I can make a supercut of just Rey and Kylo scenes from this movie, because they are the best part. They are the heart of the movie. They are the thing holding it all together. And it's a shame that the whole movie couldn't be as good as how good the scenes with them are. I really was reminded of fanfiction a lot whenever they would come on screen, though. I can't even name my favorite part. It was all so good. I guess if I, had to pick two of my favorite parts with Rey and Kylo, it would be the hand thing, and the care to take off the glove and to slowly hold it out. And she offers her hand to him first. I mean, I know in the advertising it played up when he holds his hand out to her, and that was amazing. She holds her hand out to him first. Damn! And then my second favorite part is when it references the monster line in The Force Awakens, when she says, you're a monster to him on Starkiller, and he brings that up again, and he says, you have that look in your eyes when you called me, in the forest, when you called me a monster. And she says, you are a monster. And he goes, yes, I am. That's exactly something that I would put in a fanfic. Just wow. It's incredible how much that is exactly what we wanted, and how much this is probably going to piss off so much of the fandom. Every kick in the face that they could have given to, like, Rey Skywalker, they did. Like, every single thing they could have done. It felt very meta when Kylo said, you know, you're nobody, but not to me. Like, the fandom is gonna say, you know, Rey nobody is the term that people use for Rey being related to characters that we don't necessarily know. And that felt really meta. I have to wonder how much Ryan is familiar with the fandom, because I remember getting the impression that he wasn't out to please the fandom, which made me think he was going to go off in a direction that none of us could possibly predict. But actually, it was exactly what Reylos have been saying for 2 years. I guess if there were some things that we got wrong, it would be Kylo was never actually on Ahch-To, which, after the way that it was, I don't know, after the way that Ahch-To was displayed, I'm kind of glad that he didn't. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense for him to find them anyway, because he couldn't see her surroundings. But, I don't know, like, it would have felt pretty silly in an already kind of goofy movie to have him show up to the island with the porgs and the nuns and the giant boob aliens. What the hell was up with that? Why does Rian Johnson have such a fixation on gore and boobs and stuff? Oh, that's someone talking to me. Probably about the movie. I've got like 5 different chats going on right now all about the movie. I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna see it again. I just wish that everything was on the level of that Reylo. Oh, I think Rey and Kylo's characterization in this movie was really interesting too, because his characterization, you know, makes logical sense from his progression in the first movie. Destroy it all, burn it down. I am so angry. Put every gun on that one dude down there. But please, my GF, wibble, wibble. Oh, please. That makes sense. To me, anyway. And then you got Rey. And I like how indignant she was about Luke. And how disappointed he was in her for, like, falling to the dark immediately. And she doesn't even go, oh no, the dark side or whatever, you know, that's so bad. She's worried about Kylo being, you know, too far into the dark side. But when Luke calls her out on maybe having too much of the dark, she never really seems worried about it. She jumps right into that hole and tries to figure out about her family. I gotta say, that whole bit with, like, the multiple images of her thing did not feel like a Star Wars movie thing. It felt like something that would happen in Blade Runner or something. I can't think of it. Like a Ridley Scott movie, essentially. It felt weird. There were a couple of parts that felt weird. Like, there were some parts where I was like, okay, that feels very retro 80s kind of movie with the new effects, which is how I felt about The Force Awakens. But there were some parts where I was like, that doesn't feel like at all something that would happen in this movie. And it's too bad. I want to be able to say it's amazing overall, but it's not. It's got these spikes of amazingness, but in between you got these giant dips of just, what the hell was that? And then it goes back up and you're like, oh, okay. It's not the kind of movie that I would show to someone casually and not warn them about maybe some of the weirder stuff in it. But man, the forced Skype calls make it worth it. I love that the fandom has basically... I checked out Tumblr and a couple of other sites really quickly after coming home, and that's what I called them initially before I even knew. Everyone's calling them that. And I am so glad, because that is the perfect way to describe it. So I guess I've emphasized this a couple of times now, but to wrap up, there are some parts of this movie that are amazing. Other parts not so much. I'll probably notice some more things when I watch it again. There were a couple of lines I didn't catch because the people sitting next to me got a little rowdy, but I'm excited to see it again. I think it was worth the wait. I probably will not be making quite as much content for this fandom now because I feel satisfied that there's no real mystery to the aspects that I was most looking forward to, which is Rey and Kylo. They're basically destined now. I'm good. I'm fine. I'll look forward to seeing the Forces of Destiny episode with them. I'll look forward to reading the novelization. If there's any spin-off material with the two of them, and the deleted scenes that we're going to see with the special content on the collector's edition, however many months away from now. I'll look forward to seeing all of that, but I probably will not be putting it quite under such a microscope as I did with The Force Awakens, because there's no ambiguity anymore. People can say whatever the hell they want to try and dismiss that they're important to each other, but that's it. It's